good morning, everybody around California. So happy to see you again. The California Climate and Energy Collaborative team is so pleased to welcome you back for our 24th meeting of the Local Energy Resources Network. Hope you're having a nice November. I want to welcome you to introduce yourself as we always do over chat. And if you want to share your webcam, please do if you're comfortable. Slide. I'll start. I'm Angie Hacker. I'm the SEEK Statewide Best Practices Coordinator, and I'm joined today by a couple other members of the SEEK team, including John and Tila, who are going to say hello over chat, and you can always reach out to them if you have any needs. So you have been with us for a couple of years now. You already know these monthly meetings are designed to provide space for local governments and those that work with them to dive in on programs and opportunities that can help you advance your climate goals. So you come here and get briefed and then get back to the grind. I know you all are very busy. Today, our agenda is, as usual, we're going to go through some roundtables. We have quite a few spotlights, including one from a featured speaker from our friends at Tech Clean California. Energy Solutions is going to be presenting a little bit on Tech Clean California. And then we also have a featured presentation by the Environmental Protection Network, which is going to tell you a little bit about how you can get access to support for grant writing. And then we'll do our little normal BPC workshop. And of course, we have our extended 15 minutes after noon, what we call bonus breakouts for some informal networking and any topics you want to bring up. All right, next slide, please. So first, today's kind of a big day. If you're on LinkedIn like I am, everybody's talking about how today is the day that the 5th National Climate Assessment came out. And that's a big deal because it only comes out every 5 years. And there is a lot to learn, both from the data that's in there and the way it's presented. If you're like me and you're trying to communicate this kind of stuff to other folks, I'm a big proponent of folks in our space here with SEEK in the mitigation world using climate information to impact and drive your work, your mitigation work. So I want to make sure you're aware of it. This is one of the images that's one of the first images in the report. I'm sharing it because I think it does a really good job of connecting what you all are doing, working on creating a low carbon, decarbonized economy as a clear and key path to avoiding some of the more extreme impacts. Climate change, they talk about wildfire, water, heat, food security, and a lot more. So the message here on this one is an interesting message for all of us in our work, is just how much more the U.S. warms depends on choices made today. So for the first time ever, it puts a climate impact price tag at $150 billion a year and growing. And I just wondered how many of us are using that kind of a calculation in our messaging and our climate action plans in terms of how much avoided costs can we calculate in our own communities if we were to act on climate change. All right, so I just wanted to let you know, and we'll put this in the chat, that there is a White House briefing on the National Climate Assessment today at noon, which is right after this meeting, and I just want to put that on your radar. All right, so let's dive into our opportunity roundtable before we bring up our speakers. So as always, this roundtable, we like to encourage you to add to it. So in the chat, if you would, add anything that you would like your fellow local energy and climate practitioners to know about, trainings, funding opportunities, whatever it is. As always, this is a hyperlink cheat sheet you'll have access to. You don't have to feverishly take notes. And then Tila is also going to be adding links to the chat so you can be following along and just accessing all of these opportunities. This is not a complete list, by the way. Our complete list is on our website. We regularly track funding opportunities with quite a bit of a detail. And so hopefully Tila can add that funding resources page to the chat as well. But I'm just going to walk through some of these highlighted programs. I'm not going to talk about all of them because we've been talking about some. A couple of these I'm going to spotlight in a little more detail, including this first one on PG&E's microgrid incentive program. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I did want to mention that the FEMA BRIC program, that's Building Resilient Infrastructure in Communities program, is out now. The federal award application is due in February, but if you're a local government and you want to be a sub-applicant, that application is due December 13th. And you might think, well, hazard mitigation, is that really what we do? Just want to mention that BRIC recognizes the growing hazards associated with climate change. And so a lot of it is around climate adaptation, but some of it really has to do with energy and energy resilience, which I know a lot of you are working on. So there's some opportunity for you in here. And this is potentially high dollar grant opportunities. So they can fund things like capability and capacity building, hazard mitigation projects, and management costs. So that one did require a notice of intent, but I just want to put on your radar. So you would actually apply for this sub-application directly to OES, and we'll put that link in the chat. Now, the other one I want to talk about here, I'll talk about one on the next couple of slides here. It's going to be the California National EV Infrastructure Formula Program. So we'll put a pin on that. But I did want to touch back on the EECBG program. We've been talking about this for what seems like at least a year. But the DOE actually reached out to me and wanted me to tell you a little bit more about the voucher option. And so if you're a formula grant recipient, you can get the dollars. But what they're telling you is that they're kind of encouraging folks that have lower award amounts, maybe under $250,000, or just don't want to deal with the administrative burdens of having to do a federal grant, or familiar with it or comfortable with it. You can instead opt to have that same dollar amount given to you in the form of a voucher. That voucher could be used for an equipment rebate or technical assistance voucher based on various eligibility guidelines. So if you have not yet submitted for your EECBG formula grant and you are eligible, just know that that's an option. You can contact me directly. I have this long email with instructions for how to take advantage of the voucher program, or I can just put you in contact with the DOE directly. So don't leave money on the table. That's, formula allocated to you just because you're weary of taking on a grant administration process. There's another option. And just want to say a quick note to say congrats to a couple of the jurisdictions that have already had awards executed with the DOE for EECBG. And I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more of you take advantage of those formula dollars, which we know don't come around every day. Want to just mention too, one of the meetings that we have coming up next month that some of you are already registered for is our state and local energy and climate coordination meetings. These are relatively new meetings. It will be our third quarterly meeting. That's going to happen in December. And so if you are a local government representative, we're going to send you'll receive another invitation to register for that meeting. That will be the third of 3 listening sessions we have conducted with CARB on the topic of barriers to local climate action. And we really would like you all to come and help us co-create some solutions that CARB can take back with them. The other thing I'll mention is that we did a San Diego pilot for the SLEEK, so State and Local Energy and Climate Coordination. So we did a workshop in San Diego in October, and just want to say thanks to the folks that showed up to that. And we liked doing it alongside Strategic Growth Council, and it's something we want to continue to do. So you might be seeing us coming to a region near you. One more thing regarding input down below here, I wanted to mention there's quite a few input opportunities, but here's one I wanted to highlight. The Department of Energy issued a request for information on the technical challenges and opportunities for grid integration of solar energy systems and other inverter-based resources that include photovoltaics and energy storage facilities. So they basically want to hear from all sorts of stakeholders, including local government agencies, about the cost-effective and reliable integration of solar and other variable and power electronic-based energy sources onto the grid. So how do we do that better? That will be due November 30th, so it's coming pretty quick. Okay, so that's what I had on that screen. Again, don't forget to put your own updates and announcements here in the chat. Let's go to the next slide where I want to go into a little more detail on a couple of these. Okay, so some of you have been hearing about the microgrid incentive program. So the CPUC recently set aside $200 million for this MIP, the microgrid incentive program, and it's to fund the construction of multi-customer microgrids in disadvantaged and vulnerable communities. So PG&E is sort of the lead IOU on this, has received some dollars. They are in the process of launching this program. The MIP is intended to provide $15 million per community microgrid project. And the first step, they have an interesting application process. Before you can apply, they want to conduct initial consultations. And so that's sort of a step in the process, is to do an initial consultation first. And we have a form here that will drop the link into the chat as well. And you can also contact them directly. We're going to try to get them in to talk to us in one of these coming months a little bit more about this program. But you have until December 31st to submit this form requesting an initial consultation to have a chance to apply for this community microgrid funding. All right, next slide. Now this one's kind of interesting. There is a solicitation for funding available right now through the CEC for what's called the California National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Formula Program. So some background here is that the California Department of Transportation, so Caltrans, and the CEC are partnering to implement the federal National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Formula Program. Now, maybe you've heard of that, but basically there's a national plan for EV infrastructure. And that federal program is allocating $5 billion to states to create a nationwide interconnected network of DC fast chargers along the national highway system. So I just wanted to make sure you all are aware of this, because these corridors are flowing on through all of your communities, and there's plans. So there's sort of a roadmap for where they want to see DC fast chargers along the national highway system throughout California and around the country. So this one is not something local governments, or actually most of you on the call, are eligible for, but it is eligible to private entities. And so there's millions of dollars to get some of this infrastructure into your communities. I just wanted you to be aware of it as you're doing your EV charging planning. And maybe you have some relationships with private entities and you just want to make sure you get a piece of this pie to make sure this corridor actually gets built. All right, so that's what I wanted to share in terms of opportunities. And now I'm really pleased to be able to pass the mic over to one of our guests. Our first guest is Lillian Ross. She's with Energy Solutions, and she's the project manager for Tech Clean California. And I've been talking with them a bit, and they wanted to share more about their program with you. And they're going to be coming to talk more, actually, a full featured presentation in January. But thanks for being here, Lillian. We appreciate you taking the time to come out and chat.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. So hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for the lovely introduction. Like I said, my name is Lillian. I'm a project manager with Energy Solutions, where my main project is supporting the statewide Tech Clean California initiative. So for today's 5-minute spotlight, I want to give a quick overview of tech, highlight our data reporting, and then discuss how we can further connect on our equity efforts. No worries on collecting links during the presentation, as I will be dropping links in the chat afterwards for easy follow-up. And I am also going to go off camera to help out with my weak internet connection. But next slide. And you can click through all 3 of these pillars. To start off, I believe most of you are aware of what tech is, but just a quick overview for those who don't. Tech Clean California's goal is to speed up the adoption of clean heat pump space and water heating technology across California homes. We provide a central hub of information on residential heat pump technologies, consumer education, supply chain engagement, as well as workforce education, training, and development. We also provide incentives to contractors and installers, make submitting a rebate application easy, and test new approaches to increase market adoption through pilots and quick start grants. To achieve the market transformation vision, we have established 3 pillars of the tech strategy, which is listed here and is listed on our website as well. I highly encourage you all to visit techcleancalifornia.com, highlighted in blue on the screen, for all the details around our strategy and initiative. And also, please let me know what areas would be of most interest among this group, and we can dive deeper into those areas when we come back to speak as the featured presentation. Next slide. Now, however, I would like to quickly highlight the 3rd pillar of tech on how we inform long-term building decarbonization framework with our data that we publish on our public reporting website. As California and other states look to decarbonize and scale heat pump adoption, there are a wide range of stakeholders weighing investment and planning decisions. As part of developing this, our team conducted many interviews with various stakeholders to understand what is important to inform their building decarbonization decisions. And there are many different ways of how this data can be useful, which we actually discussed in our recent data webinar. We recently had a data webinar that went into all of this in so much more detail. So I encourage those who are interested in more details to view our recording and slides on our website. I've also dropped the link in the chat to access the webinar resources, as well as a link to all of our public data. Next slide. Now, equity is a core value of tech, and we are aware making the clean energy transition equitable will require commitment and significant resources. Some examples of tech's resource opportunities include CBO trainings, like on how to talk about going all electric and how to talk about incentive programs, workforce education and training through our extensive free training programs we offer, and equitable electrification. Tech works with other low-income programs like ESA to support customers who would otherwise be left behind. Speaking of our public data, we also post data on our website that highlights our equity budget and spending with further details on our equity strategy, along with our partners in these efforts. Next slide. Thank you. So listed here on this slide, you can see some potential pathways and opportunities to get involved and partner with us. We currently partner with a wide range of entities, IOUs, counties, cities, and federal programs. And we're always looking for more ways to connect the state. So please feel free to reach out with any ideas. Next slide. So I believe all of us here are well aware that CBOs play an integral role in successful market transformation. Tech Clean California works for and with community-based organizations by providing resources and education to support efforts in building clean energy equity. With the help of CBOs, we can effectively reach out to low-income and disadvantaged communities, ensuring that the shared benefits of clean heating technologies reach those who need them the most. So lastly, I wanted to highlight a potential opportunity for CBOs and tribes. The California Public Utilities Commission's Clean Energy Access Grant Account will award grants of up to $500,000 to tribes and CBOs that provide education about and support access to Tech Clean California. If you may be interested, you can learn more about how to help California achieve clean energy goals by visiting the CPUC's website. And this link will also be added to the chat for all. And then last slide. Finally, to conclude, thank you so much for letting me be here. Please feel free to email me with any questions, comments, or if you're looking for ways to partner with our efforts. Please also view the links and websites referenced for further details, and we look forward to coming back to present to continue our conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Lillian. And she's going to hang around and can help answer questions over chat for anybody that has them. And you went ahead and put her contact information in the chat too for easy access. Thank you for bringing up the Clean Energy Access grants as well. Okay, we're going to move on to our next speaker. So let me go ahead and introduce Kaylee Fish. And so she is the Community Outreach Associate with the Environmental Protection Network. Now, as you guys know, you all told us, hey, we want to hear more about not just what the grants are, but how to get them. And so EPN is an organization that helps support folks, communities like yours, actually access these grants. And she's going to tell you about that. They're actually a pro bono capacity building technical assistance program. So hopefully you all can take advantage of it. And with that, I'd love to introduce Callie and have her go ahead and take it away from here. As you listen, please do add your questions to the chat and we will have time for that at the end.
Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to be here to talk to you about the Environmental Protection Network and some ways that we could possibly assist you with technical assistance. My name is Kaylee Fish, and I'm the Community Outreach Associate serving EPA Region 9. So that serves California, Nevada, Arizona, Hawaii, the Pacific Islands, and 148 tribes. So a little bit about us. You can push it to the next slide, please. The EPN was founded in January of 2017, and as Angie said, what I'll talk most about today is our pro bono technical assistance program. So how that works is that communities come to us with different questions that fall under the umbrella of the EPA, which is a very vast umbrella, as I'm sure you know. We are made up of 600 former EPA alumni who work to answer and support communities as they navigate through different environmental injustices. These former EPA alumni spent 10, 30, 40 years working at the EPA as scientists, lawyers, economists, policy experts, and beyond. Their decades of historical knowledge and subject matter expertise is an incredible resource for the communities that we work with. Next slide, please. Our main goal is to build the capacity of environmental agencies and the communities they serve to address the most urgent health and environmental crises, including climate change and environmental injustices. We do this through national policy and advocacy, which can look like our EPA alumni volunteers helping to write comments, educating Congress, and sometimes testifying before court. And also through our pro bono technical assistance program, which can look like grant support, connecting with experts to provide guidance on things like data collection, translating things into lay language, including these big federal grants that are often quite convoluted and hard to understand. Those experts are able to kind of guide the communities through that process. And lastly, in order to retain greater diversity of EPA staff, we recruit from HBCUs and MSIs. Next slide, please. So through our pro bono technical assistance program, we connect our EPA alumni with frontline communities, NGOs, state, local, and tribal agencies to help them navigate bureaucracy, regulations, funding to achieve tangible public health benefits. To give you an example, I'm currently working with a community who's interested in better understanding how an environmental benefits mapping and analysis program tool that was created by the EPA might be used to support generating a comment letter to the city in response to a development proposal that would create poor air quality for their community. So what we did is connected this community with one of our air quality experts, and he was able to help her navigate that tool and generate a comment to the city. A lot of what we do also is grant support. And I recently worked with a community who had written this grant proposal for an EPA grant. And the expert I connected them with spent her 10-hour flight in the air going over this proposal or the grant that had been written, providing just incredible feedback and really sharpening it up and making it very competitive. And we will hear back if they are awarded that grant, but it's very promising. Next slide, please. So this is just a quick map showing all of our community outreach associates and the regions they serve. You can see me over here in Region 9. And also if any of the communities or governments that are on the call today are outside of Region 9 or know communities outside of Region 9 that need assistance, you can reach out to me and I can connect you with the appropriate community outreach associate for that region. But yeah, you can see, as I mentioned before, California, Nevada, Arizona, we serve all of those communities. Next slide, please. So to date, we have connected 150 plus volunteers with communities, NGOs, and state, local, tribal agencies on 450 plus requests for technical assistance. Over 2,000 volunteer hours we've leveraged. We've assisted 100 plus groups to apply for funding and help them access more than $3 million. Next slide, please. So our accessing federal funding, which is probably, I think, that what most folks on this call may be interested in, and it's makes up a lot of the work we do at EPN. I like to say that we work on the front and the back end of grant support mainly. The front end can look like navigating funding opportunities, working with the community to know what kind of grants they're looking for. So we will align them with grants we think they're most competitive for, have the capacity for, are ready for, identifying partners if they need for those grants, making connections. Our website also has multiple grant writing guides, checklists, templates, some sample narratives, and I'll put that in the chat after this, after my presentation. I'll put the links to those. And then on the back end of grant support, we, as I mentioned, are able to, once the grant is mostly written, we're able to connect the communities with experts in that topic that the grant is being written for, who will review the grant and provide feedback to, again, make it as competitive as possible. And lastly, for the back end of grant support, we work with communities to manage the grants and on reporting too, because that is often a not so supported item. I don't know what I'm saying there, but you understand. Next slide, please. So in partnership with the DOE and the EPA, they are funding environmental justice thriving community technical assistance centers, which we so lovingly call TIC-TACs. And these were created to remove barriers and improve accessibility to help under-resourced and overburdened communities across the country by providing technical assistance. There are 13 regional and 3 national TIC-TACs, each being given $10 to $13 million over 5 years to help these under-resourced and overburdened communities to access funding. Next slide, please. And then here is a small map, hopefully you can see it, that shows where those TIC-TAC centers exist within the regions. Here in Region 9, in the light green, you can see there is one at San Diego State University, as well as one in Arizona State University. And I work with both of those, so if you have any questions regarding the TIC-TACs, you can definitely ask me. And so with that, I hope you have a better understanding of what we can provide you, and I'm happy to answer any questions that come up now or later as you think about what you may need assistance with. So here is my contact information. Feel free to email me, and I think we have some time to take questions.
We do have questions. Thank you so much for that and for being with us. I haven't seen questions added to the chat yet, but I want to welcome people to do that and to raise your hand. You can just go ahead and raise your hand and we'll call on you and ask some questions. I'll start. I've got a couple of questions, or maybe first a comment, which is I'm subscribed to your email updates and they're actually really good. How do folks subscribe to that? Maybe you can share the link in the chat, because I mine that for funding opportunities. And then you guys are really good about saying, hey, here's this opportunity and here's what we could do to help you with it.
Yeah, let me pull that up. Yeah, those emails are really great opportunities, because essentially when any grant opportunities or new information, comes through us from the EPA or from any other partners, we have a weekly update that we send out to anyone on that listserv.
Yes. All right. Karen, nice to see you. You have a question.
Hey, Angie. Yeah, and Kaylee, thank you so much. That's really great to hear. The one question I had, you said this is the intent is for this technical assistance program to serve frontline communities in particular. And I'm wondering if you have a definition, like if folks are interested in looking, like, is there a certain criteria they need to meet? Is it or should just everybody call you up and see if they might meet? Like,
yes,
how does it work?
that's usually how it works, because there's no stringent number or line we draw in the sand of who is eligible or who is not. It all depends on the community itself, as well as the environmental injustice you're facing and the level of that and what we have the capacity for. So I always like to say the door is open. If you have any questions, think you might be eligible for it, need assistance with something, need to be connected to someone, reach out, and we can help if we can. And if we can't help, we'll let you know, but it can't hurt to reach out, because we do have a lot of a great network in this space. So we often do have some kind of resource for you.
So if someone thinks that they might be eligible, that's worth giving you a call in any case.
Definitely, yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, I don't think I have you guys listed in our TA directory, but we will certainly add you. And maybe
Definitely.
do you have a list of like TA services you offer? Like you meant obviously grants, but it sounds like there's some other things. Do you have like a boundary around what you offer TA for?
What we offer TA for, meaning what communities or just
What kinds of
examples
TA?
technical
So
assistance?
like, I mean, obviously there could be a wide gamut. Do you do energy analysis for folks? Can you look at load capacity? Like, I mean, like there's a wide range.
Soil testing guidance, air quality monitoring guidance. We don't have a list of specifics. I can probably find a list of what we have done, but it essentially depends on the expertise of our volunteers, which, as I mentioned, we have 600 of them covering many different topics, different expertise: water quality, air quality, Superfund sites, brownfields, multiple things. So I wouldn't say there's any kind of box that we don't go into or out of. It's just what we have, like I said, the capacity for, and it depends on the kind of technical assistance. So if anyone has specific questions on if we do this or if we do that, I can definitely answer that. But as far as a very specific list, yeah, exactly. If it's under EPA, reach out. So if it has anything, if it's under the umbrella, which, as I said, is very vast, reach out and we can work with you.
I imagine the thing that folks are thinking about next in terms of funding is probably the climate pollution reduction grants. I know you guys have been very active there, and there's an implementation phase coming. Can you tell us, is that something you're offering support for now?
I believe so. Yes, we're supporting, or we're offering support for any active grant at the moment. So.
Okay, and Alice in the chat is asking here.
Can I add something to that, if that's okay?
Oh yeah, hi Michelle, go ahead.
Hello, so sorry. I am Kaylee's colleague. Yeah, I just wanted to say we are supporting with that, and we're hoping to have a guide come out in the next couple of weeks. We're still in the process of working through that. So definitely, if you're working for that and you're looking for a guide or a template, reach out. We should have that coming out in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, just wanted to say that real quick.
Yeah, and that would be a part of those those emails that you receive, Angie, on that listserv, updates on when that would be out, as well as it's going to be on our website. And let me put the links to that in the chat as well.
And I think when the EPA came out with some of their environmental justice grants several months ago, you all were, I think, even were providing review, or maybe it was a Solar for All. You were providing project narrative reviews, right? Giving comments back and feedback.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of our work is connecting communities once the grant is mostly formed. We connect them with experts in that field. So for example, we were working with Solar for All. So we would connect experts with, or connect communities with solar experts who know exactly what the grant is looking for and kind of how they can write that in the proposal and make it competitive. So we definitely had a lot of those reviewing and providing feedback from our experts.
Perfect. Alice here in the chat is asking about the Tic Tac, and she says, does the Tic Tac do energy efficiency or solar and battery sizing for zero net energy, etc.?
So the Tic Tac has some sub teams that are more specific for energy. We have a tribal sub team, an energy sub team, and an environmental health and quality sub team. So they have an entire sub team that's dedicated to energy efficiency and solar. And I probably battery sizing, I don't know specifically, but definitely reach out, email me, and I can connect you with that sub team as well.
Are you guys, is there a partnership then between EPN and Tic Tac? Are you guys part of the team?
Yes,
Okay.
we are in partner with the SDSU Tic Tac as well as the Arizona State University Tic Tac. And that map in my slide that showed the stars throughout the region, or sorry, throughout the US, we're in partnership with all of those Tic Tacs as well. Yes, thank you. But the two for
Okay.
Region 9, which I think most folks on this call are a part of, I am in partnership with those Tic Tacs. So again, you can reach out to me regarding those Tic Tacs as well.
Yeah, and that's
the state in Arizona.
I'm really glad you mentioned that because we haven't really talked about that a whole lot here, and it's sort of recently launched, and I think people may be beginning to hear about it quite a bit, but maybe don't know necessarily how to take advantage of it. Is there anything else you can share about, how folks get themselves connected to the Tic Tac?
Email me.
All right.
Me, or if you look on, let me get that there, the SDSU Tic Tac link. You can kind of take a look at what services are offered. So specifically the San Diego State University Tic Tac, which is the most fully formed one this far. They're very, very new. We only just started providing technical assistance about a month ago and reaching out to communities. So the Arizona State University one isn't up and running quite yet. But both of those Tic Tacs support any community in Region 9. So if you're a community in Arizona or Nevada, you can get assistance through the Arizona State University one or the San Diego State University one. And I put the San Diego State University Tic Tac link in the chat as that is the one that is active now. So you can go to the website, take a look at what we do, and you can fill out an intake form or just set up a call with me. And then we just kind of discuss what your community is looking for specifically. And then we create a technical assistance plan for you based on what our sub teams have the capacity for, the skill set for, and we go from there.
I'd welcome anybody here on the line who has some experience with that Tic Tac to share a little bit as well. Some of you are probably involved in it, and maybe we need to have a whole session on that one. I don't know if you feel like me, but there's a lot of TA now where there wasn't maybe a few years ago. So we've got these lovely folks at EPN and the Tic Tac, and there's regional climate collaboratives. Strategic Growth Council just announced another sort of community supporting program that I can't remember the name of. We may need just a whole session just to help us navigate to who does what. And so maybe my team will kind of like dissect that a little bit further and figure out how do we can really navigate people to the right TA providers for which kinds of services. All right, I'm looking at oh good, we do have one more. He's asking, Cooper is asking, can you please remind us your email address? Oh, okay, maybe you can drop that in the chat here.
Oh.
Alice, did we fix this? Did we figure out the second part of your question, talking about building decarbonization, hazmat assessment of building or lead in water? She's asking about support for that too. Do you want to address that?
Oh, I'm sorry, me or Alice, but I can
You,
address
yeah.
that. We do, sorry. We definitely absolutely do support things like lead and water, hazmat assessment, and building decarbonization. We have experts in all of those fields, so we can definitely assist you.
Hey, I see somebody. Oh, okay. So somebody is sharing Tic Tacs are just getting up and running. Were funded over the summer, but they are really new. Yeah. Yep. That's what I'm hearing as well. But so much potential.
Yes, and just to say, as I mentioned, since they are very new, we do have a lot of requests. So bear with us as if you are to reach out for the Tic Tacs. But like you said, a lot of potential, and we have a lot of support and networks that are already providing technical assistance. So it's very exciting.
Right. Well, does anyone else have questions for Haley? I'll leave it open for just another few seconds in case anybody wants to raise a hand. I think that'll do it then. We really appreciate your time, Kaylee, for being here. And Michelle, too, thanks so much for your work. And thanks to all those people offering pro bono support. I still don't quite understand why they do it, but they must just be lovely human beings that really want to make sure the communities are getting the support that they need. All right, well, with that, I think we'll go ahead and move to our next topic here. And thanks, folks, for chiming in with some good questions. Folks here are still asking questions from tech, which is great, and she's tackling those over chat. So, our BPC workshop sometimes is an opportunity for us to just share a little bit more about what we're doing on the inside. And so I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Kelsey on the SEEK team to share a little bit more about the SEEK forum and request for your input.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. I just wanted to, this will be super quick, but in case if you hadn't received our emails, we have announced the date of our 2024 SEEK Forum. It'll be June 25th and 26th in Palm Springs. And we do hope that you all can come. I think it'll be a great event again this year. But in the effort to make it a good event, we usually do kind of a pre-forum survey, try and get different speaker ideas, forum theme ideas, what topic areas you want to hear this year, what's coming up for you. So we hope that you can take the survey. Taylor will put the link in the chat, and the deadline is December 1st. So we really hope to hear from you so we can make it, a great forum this year. And that's pretty much it from me.
We would love your help shaping that forum. Thanks, Kelsey. And the SEEK team is hard at work getting that next forum up and going. It's we just feel like we just met with you all, but here we are planning our next one. It's going to be a good one. All right, let's go to the next slide. Oh, thank you. LP McCloy saying he's looking forward to seeing everyone in Palm Springs. Oh, you're part of the Palm Springs team. Great. All right, so I think what we're going to end up doing here is ending the formal part a little bit early, going to our bonus breakout maybe a few minutes early. That way everybody can get over, if you want, over to that White House briefing at noon on the National Climate Assessment. So this is working out great. Our next meeting we invite you to come back for is December 12th. And this will be our second year in a row of using that December meeting as a annual policy wrap up. So we will have Roger Dickinson, he's our Civic Well Policy Director, here to talk about what happened in 2023 on the legislative front. And we will also have Stephen from the Local Government Sustainable Energy Coalition. That's our sister program, also under Civic Well. He'll be here to do a roundup of what happened in the CPUC regulatory world and perhaps some other regulatory updates. So as always, we hope that you come back and share this invitation with others you think could benefit from this kind of information. And you can always reach out to me if you're somebody who wants to present. We would love to hear from you, or if you have some kind of an update you'd like to make sure I'm sharing in these meetings. All right. So let's go to the next slide here, where we are probably ready to just go ahead and do our optional bonus breakout. So anybody who wants to take off can take off now, but what we usually do is we stop recording and we just offer a little bit of free space here for some informal discussion among folks that are on this call. So that might look like offering an announcement, a success story, an opportunity, sharing a need for information, or if you're looking for collaborators or advice, or you might just raise a suggested topic for a speaker for future learns, or just anything that's on your mind you want to talk more about. Maybe you have more questions for our speakers, or maybe you're working on a grant and you want to see if anybody else has had experience doing it. So I'm going to leave a little open air time here for anybody who may want to share. And I want to mention but I think Carol Schmidt may be on the line still. And if you are Carol from the CEC, I know you had something you wanted to share. I'm just going to leave a little space here.